You know what? I'm going inside. G'day! Welcome to Evention. Today, I'm going to show you 3 exercises to do in the indoor. Okay guys, I'm going to show you 3 kind of different exercises for the indoor to help keep you amused when you feel like killing yourself this winter. This is a shortening of the Canter exercise. We start with about 7 rails, 7 canter poles, and we begin having them spread 9 feet apart, remembering that 9 feet is about 3 footsteps. And gradually, as we get closer to the jump, we start to shorten the distance between the poles by about 6 inches each space until we get to this last one, and it's about 7 feet apart as opposed to 9 feet. Now, the effect of this is that the horse gradually has to start bringing his canter together, but the poles help us because it gives him something to gauge where he jumps in and out of. Now, the last part between the last canter pole and the jump is always still going to be 9 feet because he needs that room to jump. Now, a couple of things to take into account. The first thing is that this exercise becomes difficult for the horses. The more experienced they are and the more balanced they are, they should be able to get all the way to, say, a 7-foot gap in here. But if it's a young, inexperienced horse, they'll probably break into the trot rather than hold it. So you kind of got to take that into account when you decide just how short to make it. And it might be just trial and error. You might have to run through a few times to figure out exactly what works for your horse. Another thing to think about is if they are having trouble maintaining the canter, maybe just take the jump out and just have them go through the poles. It's just a different way of trying to teach them to shorten their canter without just kicking and pulling on the flat. It kind of gives you something to make it a little bit more interesting. All right, let's go to a Shramo Shoutout. Today's shout-out goes to Horse and Around Therapeutic Riding Center located in Waxhaw, North Carolina. They're a special group of people that are helping special needs children and adults through therapeutic riding. Check them out here. Back to Planet Ice. Welcome back, guys. This second exercise is my squeeze exercise. So depending on the size of your indoor is going to affect how many jumps you put. We've done 4 here, and you have them kind of offset the way I've showed you. But they're about between 22 and 23 feet apart. If you're unsure about your footsteps, then you can just use a measuring wheel. But you can start out beginning by jumping the horses from the last one, coming down the outside line here to this second last one. And that will be in quite a short 3 strides. Once the horse is kind of getting familiar with jumping and going past this jump, right beside it, then you can practice doing it the other way. So maybe coming the other direction from that jump to this jump, going down the outside line, again in a quiet waiting 3. Once the horses become a little bit straight and a little bit more confident, you can attempt the squeeze line, which is 1 stride in between each of the jumps, threading the eye of the needle, so to speak. Now, a word of caution, if your horse isn't particularly experienced, you may not get to doing the squeeze straight up on the first try. I would take my time and get the horse used to the idea of going quite close to the jumps but not jumping them, and then doing the middle part because you don't want to risk a silly run out. All right, let's go to our last exercise. Okay, exercise number 3 is a little bit more of your classic gymnastic exercise. I like this one for horses that tend to be a little bit slow or kind of lazy with their front legs as they go over jumps. So basically we begin with a simple 1 stride combination with small jumps. And as you can see, I've plonked down a ground pole halfway in between. It doesn't change the way the horse jumps it at all, but they do take notice of where they're putting their feet, which is making them a bit more aware. So they do their 1 stride through here, and here I have another bounce, which is 9 feet or 10 feet in between, depending on how big the bounce is. So if you can see, 2, 3 and a little tiny bit, so this is about 10 feet. And the horse will bounce through here. That means that his front legs will hit the ground and then as his back legs hit the ground, he goes up again. So you just gotta keep a soft seat and let them sort of pick their way through here. And this will really get their attention if they're a little bit lazy. They should be a little bit sharper. And then on the other side, I have another one stride on the way out. Now you can kind of vary how you structure this, but I kind of like having the bounce in the middle of the exercise, and that really seems to get the horse's attention. Hopefully this is a good exercise to get your horse thinking a little bit more and not just dragging his feet around the indoor over and over again. Okay guys, hopefully you got a couple new ideas for some interesting exercises to try when you get stuck in the indoor. Remember to take a little bit of extra time to warm up your horse and cool them down. We want to make sure those muscles are nice and warm. If you haven't checked out our dressage skills music video already, go on YouTube and have a laugh. Also, for those of you entering in the Evention spoof episode contest, the deadline's drawing ever closer, so make sure you get those into me ASAP. All right guys, stay warm. See you next week.